Going live.
Now we're live.
We're live.
Woo!
All right.
I'm feeling the liveness of this moment.
It's a lively moment. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Gary's Guitar Talk. I'm Mark, and this is Guy.
Guy live.
Guy is a customer of the store, friend of the store.
Long time
customer. This is way back, of course.
Yeah.
The old Portsmouth that people talk about.
But I remember, what was the store that was on Islington?
Well, there was the Guitar Warehouse with Rod, yeah.
Yeah.
Gary started there.
Gary worked
not
there.
started there, but that was where we all got to know Gary.
Right.
And then he started his own store in '89, and that was the one street over.
Yeah, I remember that. That was a good space.
That was cool. Yeah. You got, I don't know, it's condos now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I remember at that space they had one of these Silvertone amp and case guitars. I already had mine
for $200.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about Silvertones today because Guy and I both love Silvertones, and we happen to own some ourselves, and it's an interesting topic. So to remind anyone watching, if you want to get in on the conversation, just put a comment in the comments section. I'm gesturing to where my iPad is in the comments section. And we will, get to your comments, and you can ask questions. You can add to what we're talking about. You can take away from what we're talking about.
You can mock us if you want.
Yeah, you can do that. You can talk amongst yourselves. People do that once in a while too. They just hit up a little conversation and start talking. And also, there is also just chime in and say hi. Let us know you're out there. If some of the regulars, especially, or just anyone, just get into the. Get into the conversation.
Do you think Gary of Gary's Guitar is home watching diligently right now?
Gary has watched these when he hasn't been on them.
Right.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Because Gary's right now he's on the schedule just about every other one.
Okay.
But like right when he when he was away, I think he was watching them. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Might have missed it a little bit.
Yeah. Or no. Yeah. Just keeping his eye on the competition. I think.
Ooh. Yeah.
Don't get too good, or he'll. Chris Lammy's here. You know Chris Lammy from Jabbers.
Yeah.
And, he's out there. Just said hi. So that's nice to see you.
Nice.
All right. So let's get to the. Well, first of all, let me just do some basic biographical information on Guy.
I'm curious.
Just
about
so you
this. I want to know who I am. Mark.
You want to know who you are in
your
2 minutes or less? Guy's a singer, songwriter, indie rocker. From way back. So with emphasis on the songwriting, Guy generates hundreds of songs a year of varying seriousness. Some of them are,
and varying quality.
The quality varies as well, but he's prolific is the word for it. I think because I recall the prolific thing you got into is with the beginning of the RPM challenge.
Yeah.
Which for those of you out there who don't know, the idea is you do an album a month.
Coming right up, Mark.
And it's coming as February, the shortest month of the year, and it the idea got borrowed from write a novel in a month.
Yep.
Thing, which is your first novel is going to suck, so just write it, and then revise it or write another one or whatever the thing is. Just make stuff, and you took that pretty seriously from the get-go.
I did actually. The first year I did the RPM challenge, it was maybe 16 years ago now, 15, 16.
15,
I saw Dave Karlotsky, who ran The Wire, and I believe it was he and John Nolan.
John thought of it,
And so they had this idea of doing a musical version of the NaNoWriMo writing challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw Dave in line at a store, and he's like, "Oh, we're doing this thing, yada yada, you should do it." It's like, okay. I had GarageBand software on my computer. I'd never used it, never figured it out. I'd done a lot of 4-track recording, some stuff in studios, but I thought this would be a great way to try to figure out this software. And so day one, I started trying to figure out, because I'm very last minute.
Yeah. And it worked out, and then you went to doing upwards between 6 and 10 records a year in the RPM challenge, and then plus doing your own regular records. But if you haven't heard the RPM challenge, I think there's still a site for it. It's kind of a very loose association. It's just do it or don't do it. It used to be really let's see your work. Show your math.
there were RPM challenge police that would come by your house and
Yeah,
make sure you
weren't
weren't
cheating. It was at 12:01
Yeah.
on the
starting
last day.
early.
Yeah,
It's run by some fine folks in Newfoundland, St. John's now.
Oh yeah, wow! I
Yeah.
did not realize that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Really great community of people, and I want to get up there. So if you're one of those people,
Yeah,
I'll come up and stay at your house
So, yeah.
right when this pandemic is over.
Well, I'm half Newfie. You know that?
Yes, I do.
Yes. So
I
my mother was from Newfoundland. So
can almost smell it on you.
So yeah, you can smell the cod on my breath. Okay. So let's go. So one thing I was like, let's Guy, come on as a guest host, bring some guitars, get some interesting guitars, but we're going to talk about the Silvertone Danelectro thing. So let's just start showing people some guitars.
All right.
So just a little brief thing, which you were asking about earlier.
What's this one? The U1.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of where it started.
Yeah. This is maybe the oldest that I have here.
So Nathan Daniels was the founder of Danelectro, and he made amplifiers for Sears.
Wow.
And then when the guitar craze hit in 1959, 1958, they're like, "Can you make guitars?" And he was like, "Sure." And he figured out how to make. He was not a guitar player, but he figured out how to make a guitar. And this was his design. Now he was allowed to sell it under his own name as well, the Danelectro name. And that was his existing thing with the amplifiers. He had his own brand and the Sears brand, and oftentimes they were parallel.
So the Sears brand was Silvertone.
Silvertone was So Silvertone guitars were sold at Sears and through the Sears catalog.
Mm-hmm.
I think he also made guitars for Montgomery Ward, and those are called Airline.
Oh yeah.
If you see the Airline guitars, those are often made by. So they're usually a Silvertone or an Airline is either made by Danelectro, or this classic '60s version, made by Danelectro, Harmony, or K.
So say, Mark, it was 1955.
Yeah.
And you find a Sears catalog.
59.
And you want a guitar.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
How much do you think, like, say, a U1 here would go
I think
for?
I used to know it was well into the teens, somewhere between $15 and $30. I think.
Wow. $15 and $30.
Yeah. But if you do today's money,
yeah,
that's $150 to $300, which is pretty much what a beginner guitar costs.
Okay.
But you wouldn't be getting this. So let's talk about some of the other attributes. So you like them because they look cool, right?
I like them because they look cool. There's a whole variety of them, colors and styles. This is this copper.
Yeah.
They make some real nice versions of in the copper. This is I don't know what they call this head. There's also the dolphin
Coke bottle head.
Coke bottle.
And the other one was the dolphin with the six on the side.
Yeah.
Which we sold. Remember, we had one here in the store and
Yeah.
sold. I'm surprised you resisted.
Well, I've got a little problem with these
Danelectro
Silvertones. But this is also the original strap.
Yes.
I got one that came with the case and the original strap.
And this is the case that came in, chipboard, what we call chipboard, which is just a paper composite covered in some kind of felty stuff. And this was the case that everything came in. I don't think there was a hard shell case until the 60s.
Yeah, they weren't worth enough to want to protect them.
No, if you bought a Gibson, it came in one of these too.
Really?
At one time.
Wow.
Not necessarily Gibson, but definitely cases weren't what they are today.
Right.
So the famous lipstick pickup. What do you know about
that? Single coil.
Single coil, yeah.
It's just the one. There's no
this one only has one.
Switching back and forth between. It's just
this is their most basic model. So if this one was $17 and the other one was like $22 or something like that's how they kind of differentiate a little bit.
I'd like to go back and order some of these.
Yeah, wouldn't it be something? Yeah. If I had a time machine, I would go back in time and kill baby Hitler.
Okay, that's the first thing you do.
Just to snuff that right out.
What would the world look like, though? It would be very different.
I guess with no post-war era, maybe there wouldn't be a Danelectro, but maybe it's a tough one playing with time. And I think Doctor Who is really, he's covered this distinctly. There are parts of history that you can't mess with.
Right.
So
But you could buy a few guitars.
But then I would go buy some guitars. But that's the funny thing. I would still probably buy Harmony and Silvertone I initially bought Harmony and Silvertone guitars because I could afford them.
Right.
So when you and I were buying these in the 80s and 90s or whatever,
Yeah.
couple $100 maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe like yard sales, you could find these at yard sales.
And you probably found some on the street because that's your style.
Literally on the street, yeah. No, Ned Chase told me the best Danelectro story. He was at a yard sale and someone had the guitar in the case, which we'll show you. That's as we build today. So a case with an amplifier built in, and the guitar in the case. They want $50 for it. He talked them down.
Nice.
He's like, "Ma'am, this guitar was sold in the Sears catalog." And they came down to $35.
Wow.
That's the story he told me.
That's a deal.
20-something years.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would happen regularly. It's just like, I got this in the attic. I don't know what it is. It happens a lot less lately.
Right.
Yeah.
And maybe they don't even know there's an amp in the case because it's a little tricky.
Yeah, it's kind of hidden in there.
Yeah.
So, and that was a little bit of genius too. And so Nathan Daniels was a bit of a design genius.
Yeah. I just want to say that they made them cheaply. A guy who, by your account, didn't really know how to make guitars, but they play really well.
Yeah.
Like the action. Can you see that action?
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't messed with
Yeah,
this
this
at
has
all.
never been no adjustments or anything. This came like this. Perfect action, really nice fretwork.
The neck smooth as can be.
Yeah. So there are some attributes that people really like about these. And we sell the new Danelectros here. Plug. When we can get them, they're on back order, super back order.
There's one right there though, so it's a beautiful.
We'll introduce that. Yeah. So a very flat fingerboard, maybe completely flat. Let's see here. There's a little radius to it, maybe.
Okay.
And pretty much. So it's a different feeling going this direction across the fingerboard.
Right.
And a shorter scale length in the Fender. And
is it less frets?
Same, let's see, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. One less fret.
One less fret. And you're really going to miss that one fret, aren't you?
Yeah. There's actually an entire note that won't be on this guitar that is on your Fender. This costs 1/4 of what a Fender costs. That's what I remember hearing that quote. Right. Yeah. So the nut is made out of metal. He was more of a metal worker. And he kind of knew that's how he kind of, he thought it'd be low cost. He liked the fact it gave sustain to the guitar by just picking up a little more. And then this, of course, this bridge, very innovative.
Wood and metal.
Yep. So a piece of hardwood over on a piece of metal.
Can you tell me how he developed the
lipstick pickup? Now, the rumor is they're lipstick cases. Now, the truth may be they were made at the same factory where Max Factor was. So there was a machine factory company in, I think it was Connecticut or something, that made these cases. And they may or may not have been the exact same case as a lipstick. Someone said he just bought out a collection of them or something and used those.
Because they used to be metal. Lipstick cases were
metal. The lipstick case, just the top part, the part you pull off, And that became the lipstick pickup. They have no pole pieces. As you see, like a Fender has 6 pole pieces ordinarily. And then winding around those pole pieces. This just has a big magnet and a winding around the big magnet. And it's all stuffed inside that lipstick case. Very unique sounding pickup too. Play great. Very stable. Also to do with their stability. I don't want to lecture a little too much. But composite tops. That is Luan.
Oh.
It's what they make kitchen countertops out of.
Sounds futuristic.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, exactly. It's the future of the 60s or your 50s. So it is a composite material. It's not solid wood, so it gives it more stability. It also gives it a slight more flexibility because, you can break them, but you never see them with cracks in the top or whatever. If you step on it, you usually live to see the day. So.
And these sides are really interesting.
Yeah, this is actually kind of like wallpaper. It was just a strip because, so what they would do is cut out a wooden shape of the guitar. They glue the top and back to that. So there's a piece of wood, 1-inch piece of wood that goes all around this guitar, and that was made out of pine. Just some cheap whatever they could get.
And then hollow inside.
And the inside is hollow. Yeah. And also the other thing about the composite top, it was anti-feedback.
Oh.
Because solid top guitars will want to feedback more. They resonate more. So a lot of the great Gibson electrics are actually plywood. They take 3 plies and stamp them. Or this is literally composite. There's sawdust and glue and just unicorn tears.
There's some rat hair in there, I think.
Yeah, just whatever was laying around.
It's like a hot dog. It's just all the stuff laying around.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Chris Lammy just said, did I introduce you to Doug Tullich on Facebook? He is the one who wrote the book on Danos and Silvertones called Neptune Bound. I got the book.
Yeah.
You had the book. You gave it to me, so that's why. Yeah,
I've got one still.
Yeah, and so it's a great book. So a lot of this information is coming from there. Subway Guitars here in Berkeley, California, bought all the old Danelectro Neptune stock back in the 80s.
Whoa.
They still have quite a lot of necks and bodies, I believe. I believe that. Because these are cult classics. I mean, they stopped making these in 68.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
And they were instant classics.
Nice.
From Jimmy Page famously used them, and then everyone's like, oh my God, you listen to Kashmir, and you're like, well, how's he do that? And, they're great for slide because of shorter scale length. I think that was part of you could get to the other parts of the guitar faster. And the no radius, or very low or no radius neck.
Right. It's not like a Les Paul or something.
Yeah. So that kind of makes it good for slide as well. So yeah, there was also a company that bought all the surplus Fender parts.
Ooh.
Back when Fender did their reorganization, they didn't get the parts.
Oh, wow.
You know that? Like they bought the company, but they didn't get the factory and everything in it.
So they're just hoarding it?
No, there's a company, I think it was called Sun Parts, or it was a Smart Parts, or somewhere in Arizona, I think they were. They just had a really huge supply of Fender parts. They're probably all gone by now, and would sell for a lot of money now too.
Yeah.
But George, who was with Fender, at the time, our customer George Blodgett, he remembers dumpster diving in back of the Fender factory trying to just get stuff that they were throwing out.
Wow.
So they literally were cleaning out the factory, just filling up dumpsters of what we would now say is historic gold. Yeah, literal gold. Yeah, nickel gold. Subway Guitars just to assemble really cool guitars. Mike Endicott. You remember Mike Endicott?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he just chimed in. He's in Hungary. Deno Thompson backs from Masonite. That's right. Sorry.
Masonite.
I've never seen a warped neck. The pickup were in fact lipstick tubes. Well, that's the controversy, whether they were bought as surplus lipstick tubes, or he just said, "Can you make me something that's like this?" to the lipstick tube manufacturer. So, but Mike probably made them himself out of lipstick tubes later, so he probably knows that even better than the Neptune bound guy.
I pulled another one into the mix, Mark.
Yes, we got to talk about more. So, for a little more money, you got an additional pickup.
Boom. This
is the 2 cutaway. Then we have this paddle headstock, which looks cool.
It's great metal. Look at the way they.
His
simple.
Yeah, that one-piece tuning machine thing there. Pickguard is this is when they went to the bigger, more elaborate pickguard. They made manufacturing a little easier because they could route the top instead of routing the back.
Yeah. This is a 1457. It's the amp in a case model, though. There's like 4 or 5 different ones.
Yeah. Well, let's get out the case.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this. The Jerry Jones. So Jerry Jones was so enamored with these, he started making Danelectro reproductions in the 80s, I think, and they're all fabulous. If you see them, buy them. All right. So you hold this, and let's see. Show it to the people. Here we go. So, case, unsuspecting case. You open it up, and there's the amp.
And the speaker.
The speaker is right here.
Side.
You could open it up to be an open back amp, or you could close the case and get a little better bass response. It has what I would call the Widowmaker schematic circuit.
I've experienced that a bit.
Yeah. People have gotten shocks off of these.
2-prong.
2-prong cable that's non-polar. And the tubes were wired in series. think that no, this one isn't a series amp. So yeah, this has a better transformer. Some of these were transformer less, not the Danelectro one, but some of the little cheap amps of the era.
Right.
The twos would just all add up to 100 and 110 volts. But yeah, this is a nice amp, and it has tremolo.
Has amazing tremolo.
Not only did they put the entire amp in the case, but they gave you tremolo.
And a tone knob. There's tone knobs, speed and strength.
So you take the volume knob, you put it on 10. You take the tone knob, you put it on 10, and that's your sound.
Boom.
A foot switch. This has got everything. It's got an output transformer for the speaker. This is a serious amp. It's a real amp. So if you see one of these in any condition, buy it. Because they are. I'll set this over here. Super cool. I've used it. You recorded with that, right?
I've toured with that.
Played gigs on that. Yeah. Yeah. It's 5 watts, maybe.
Sounds right. Yeah, plenty loud. I mean, if you're
did you mic it
bigger, up? Usually not. I mean, in most cases,
most of the gigs you're playing.
Yeah. Real
that's part of being
calls.
the indie rock folk troubadour. That's part of your. I didn't finish your biographical information earlier, but that's your thing. You didn't just do a lot of just getting out there and playing.
Yeah, it's usually like double digits. I get a little nervous.
Usually get to the double digits.
My size.
As long as the audience outnumbers the band,
yeah,
you're all right.
That's key.
That was the.
I think there may have been a couple Tiger Soft
gigs that was not the case. Yeah, especially if you subtracted the opening band from the show. Right. Yeah. But it's always fun to play. I enjoy those shows all the time. Look back on that stuff fondly when I used to do more of that.
Yeah.
We're talking about that. Let's check in with the crowd here.
Check in with the people.
So it says I had Barry H said I had a Jerry Jones. Crapo Productions says I have a Harmony Sovereign Jumbo Acoustic. Nice looking sunburst finish with tortoise shell pickguard. I wish I kept it. Yes, Harmony Sovereigns. If you not right now, well, that's the air compressor. Don't worry, we'll stop in a second. If you check out not right now, but check out our other videos. I did a video about all my harmonies. I have 7.
Wow.
Harmony acoustics, including the Sovereign.
Is your 12-string?
The 12-string was in there, yeah. So the Harmony 12-string, the Harmony Sovereign, and then a couple of the smaller body ones. The Calico one. I call the Calico Cat one, and that's high strung right now. So, anyways, Harmony guitars were tremendous. Did Lenny play one on That Thing You Do? Lenny on That Thing You Do. Is that in the movie? That Thing You Do?
The movie, yeah. I don't know.
Or something like it. They probably took the logo off so they didn't have to pay. So, Danelectro, like I was saying, they went bottoms up in 68. But they had a revival in the 90s. And the 90s, they're just 20 years after kind of thing. And they just came out and people went nuts over them, especially since they were, at that time, Korean made, but super cheap.
Yeah.
Remember that? Remember those 94, 96 or something?
They had a couple different waves, and they're pretty hot right now.
And now they're hot again. So they had that wave and wrote it out. Based on the success of guess what their most successful product is? The thing they make that really pays the bills.
Pedals?
No, not quite.
Because Danelectro made a lot.
They're making a lot of pedals.
Those
little pedals and the Snark tuner.
Oh, that was them.
He invented this. The guy who owns Danelectro invented the Snark tuner.
Wow.
And with his Snark windfalls, he's really upped the game on the Danelectros and the Danelectro pedals. That's why Danelectro has this new series of pedals, the Back Talk and the Eisenhower and what's the other one? The Roebuck.
Yeah, the Back Talk is great.
Yeah. Because he's a pedal guy at heart. Because that's why he started doing the Danelectro pedals and then did the guitars after that.
I see. So were there Danelectro pedals in the late 50s?
No, at the time there were no pedals then at all.
Yeah, I think Jimi Hendrix was kind of the one.
Where it started, Mike. Maybe it was Mike. No, the Maestro. I think they call it Maestro. The fuzz from Gibson. Gibson had a fuzz, and I think that's what the Rolling Stones used on Satisfaction. That might be literally the first pedal, the first thing that was for your guitar that fit under your foot. Well, someone on the internet will definitely correct me on that.
Yeah, you can't talk about things without people telling you how wrong you are.
Mm-hmm. I saw one of those cases with an amp that some guy modded so that the headphone jack was for an external speaker. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You can hook a
That's
12
great
up to that.
idea,
Yeah. Get a little.
Although the resale value, people
yeah.
like them
Yeah, that's
just
the thing.
as they were. Same strings.
Yeah.
Don't refret it.
Don't refret it. Don't change the strings.
Don't put a 3-prong on the amp because that will lower the value.
That will,
you may die playing it, but
hey, it's tone. You'll die for tone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big proponent of putting grounded cables on my amps.
Yeah.
And encouraging people to do that. Even though people are like, oh, vintage value. Well, if it's museum quality, then maybe think about it. We have a trick, a little workaround for that. We find the polarity it should be, and we put another connector on and tape it onto the end so that you're always plugging it. Because the thing about these non-polar plugs, you can plug them in either way.
Right.
And if nothing's grounded, you're fine. But if something else is grounded, you become the ground for the amp.
It's when you go to sing
PA,
and you go to the microphone. That's
so if the PA is grounded, you get good shocks. Did I just say Chris Lamy said that DD's bass from the Ramones, one of his first basses, was a Dano?
Yeah. Ooh.
He stepped on it and broke it at CBGB's and got a Mustang bass before switching to the P basses. Let's look at this. A copper top again.
Same color as the Silvertone.
Yep, this one is branded Danelectro. Short scale. This is essentially the guitar body with a 12, 13, 14, 15 fret neck on it. And they move the bridge all the way to the end. I don't mean to point at your wiener there. They move the bridge all the way to the end to make the math work. But it worked. So they're able to use the guitar body and make a short scale bass. Kind of brilliant.
Same kind of side
and if
thing.
Mike, I think if Mike, Mike's still out there, he played one. Mike was a big fan of the Danelectro basses, as I recall. They have a great sound.
And Gary had one as well.
Gary had one, but he just played it at home. He didn't take it on gigs.
Right.
He has that thing where because if you put down because this is Gary's thing. You put down your Fender jazz bass, what Gary had a 65 jazz bass or something, and you pick this up and plug it into the same amp and start playing, no one's going to hear you.
Really?
Yeah, this pickup is very low output. And it's all thump. Especially you got the flat wound strings on here, and you got the short scale, very loose string.
Put a little foam in the back, you get that.
Yeah, that too.
Sounds.
You get that. Get a little foam, or throwing a little palm muting. Palm muting pick action.
Sweet.
Dub Delay says, "What a great show this is." Good, thank you. He's a regular.
Don't jinx us. We still have a half hour to go.
We're still So actually, I should do the halfway through recap.
Right.
This is Gary's Guitars Guitar Talk. We're talking about Danelectros so far because they're so cool. This is Guy. And Guy's my friend, a musical collaborator friend. I left that out of your bio. We play music together. And then also, customer of the store, man about town. Also, a newly minted Kittery resident.
Yeah.
So you got your Kittery card. That's
Made the
good.
move. Phew.
Yeah.
We're in Portsmouth now, but
that's true. But you live closer to here than most people who live in Portsmouth. That's part of the thing.
That's true. Yeah.
But we won't get we won't start the bridge rivalry right now.
Please send a lot of comments about which is better,
which is better,
Kittery or Portsmouth, because we're really interested in hearing what you have to say.
See, Mike from NoFX plays some Danelectro basses. He runs them through an Ampeg SVT. Yeah, you can plug anything into an SVT, and it will just be loud enough.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying about those. And then famously, NRBQ. Joey Spompanato. Do I say that right? You remember NRBQ?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
They used to come around here. Yeah, he's famous for playing because he was playing the Silvertones when no one else was.
When
in the 1970s. Yeah, when they were $50 in a pawn shop.
Yeah.
He just dug the tone, that thumpy thing.
Right.
But you plug that into an SVT and it will move some air.
And so that's a Danelectro bass we just showed, but Silvertone made them as well.
Yeah, so Danelectro made them for Silvertone, so you'll find them with the Silvertone logo. Right. Oftentimes, you'll find them with the Silvertone logo, or sometimes, because I remember, even this is in my time, in the late 80s and early 90s of getting into guitars, where Silvertone was still considered uncool because it was a department store instrument, you know. So people would remove the Silvertone logo from their instrument.
Ah,
So sometimes you'll find these with no name on it.
yeah.
Because someone would sand off the Silvertone, or like my short scale bass, which used to be your short scale bass, which before that was Gary's short scale bass.
And Gary's daughter's short scale.
Yes,
bass.
and Mike, Big Mike played it for a little while too, or something. Right. I don't know.
Yeah.
That bass has been around. That's all I'm saying.
Dirty little bass.
That would, that has no finish on the headstock. People would remove that to remove the Silvertone logo. So people either think you got this slightly cooler Danelectro, or at least you weren't admitting to playing a department store guitar.
Maybe the best thing about that particular bass is the case, which had all kinds of great stickers.
Oh yeah, that was good. So the guy who
for food.
Yes, the guy, because the bass also belonged to the guy who used to own the produce place there in Kittery, the Golden Harvest.
Yeah.
And he saved all these stickers off of food, great looking stickers off of food crates, and he put them on that bass case. It has, unfortunately, the neck is maxed out on it, and it's a little bent, but I don't care. It sounds so good. That's just a lot of fun. I'd play a gig on that right now for 3 hours. That's just all sorts of fun. Let me check in with the chat.
See what the people have to say. Mark.
Oh, Michael said Gary was the guy who modded his headphone jack for him.
Oh, nice.
Lewis says, I just finished my first pedal modification on Electro-Harmonix Bassballs pedal. Thought it sounded terrible. So what did I have to lose? Yeah, if you take something that's already flawed and then modify it, then I guess there's no big deal on that.
You reflaw it.
Or it could be a cool thing, or at least it's an experience. Baseballs, I remember the baseballs.
I don't. What was a baseball pedal?
Baseballs.
Yeah.
It was some kind of overdrive.
Right.
They might still. They have a lot of their legacy pedals. Electro-Harmonix are still in production too. So they may still make it. It's just not very popular. There's a reason they went out of business several times.
Yeah.
So Danelectro basses are great. Danelectro, let's talk about that thing there.
Oh yeah.
We don't have an example one in the room, but this is whoever bought that bass aspired to this. So because they had the piece of paper in the case, the Danelectro 6-string bass.
That's what I want. Do you
Yeah.
have one here, Mark?
No, I have one on order, and it's been on order since 2019, I think.
Wow.
So they are back ordered.
57 till 19. It's a long time to wait.
Yeah, wait for it. Yeah.
No, it's the reissue.
The reissue, of course,
Yes.
yeah, from Danelectro. But that famously, it found a real place in studios, which was when the transition, when Fender really hadn't won the bass wars. A thing that they would do, especially in Nashville studios, but then also did in those California studios, Bakersfield, the country studio in Bakersfield, they would double a Danelectro 6-string bass with an upright bass. And they would call the Danelectro, they nicknamed that Tic-Tac bass.
Right.
Because it made the percussive noise.
Got the high end.
Yeah, it got a little bit of that high end. And so I guess that was kind of like a onomatopoeia. What's that called? You're good with dictionaries.
That's it.
Is that it? Yeah,
sure.
Wow. It's just kind of the sound it makes because it makes a tic-tac sound.
So was it more like a baritone guitar or a bass?
It's about the size of a baritone guitar,
right.
But it's kind of like you've seen the Fender Bass 6 as well, same thing, short in between scale length.
Yeah. How do you tune the Fender 6 bass?
Fender 6 bass starts with it. It's just an octave down from a regular guitar, and the same thing with that. Although I've seen people swap the strings from a baritone to on a Danelectro baritone, putting bass 6 strings on a Danelectro baritone and playing Tic-Tac bass on it.
Cool.
McCartney used the bassballs on some songs. Okay, I believe that. Entwistle played at Danelectro in My Generation. Ooh, that's news to me.
Yeah.
Ooh,
that guy had some bass moves, huh?
Yeah, that's the Danelectro stock just went up. I thought he played the Burns, but no, I think I heard something about this. Yeah, I think that could be true because
you're digging deep into your brain right now. I can see it.
Well, there is this podcast. Don't go to it now. Stay here, folks. But there's a podcast called History of Rock and Roll in 500 Songs.
Ooh.
And if you haven't listened to it, they're on 144 now. He's been doing it for years, of course. It's hard to do one a week. The guy he's like a historian, but he's mostly just reading books and putting together information. But he goes so in depth on everything that it is like distractingly like. So when someone said that, I'm like, oh yeah, the My Generation episode of 500 songs. I was like, there was an explanation for that, but it was under layers of other things. Right. So, anyways, check out that podcast. Good long form podcast. Let's see here. Envelope filter. Oh, the envelope filter is the baseballs. That's right. Yeah, I'm sorry. It wasn't a distortion. It was a filter. That's what it was. Envelope filter designed for bass. Let's see. Do we have any other Danos? Yeah, oh, yes. Say the best for last on the Danos. Woo! So this is
the Dano Pro.
Pro. It looks pro.
2 years, 63 and 64.
So, and I got to ask you the history on this for you. Where'd you get it?
I got it from a guy in Massachusetts who just had one kicking around.
Yeah. But Craigslist kind of thing or something, or?
Well, it wasn't Craigslist at the time, but some sort of a music.
Uncle Henry's or something. Yeah.
Yeah. And,
Boston Phoenix back pages.
I want to say I paid $250 for it, something like that. But I hadn't seen one before. It was the first I knew of it. And,
that was top dollar back then.
Yeah, and I don't even think there were real, online resources to look at things.
To find other stuff. No, there definitely wasn't. So you just had to take it on faith.
Yeah, I don't think they're the original knobs.
Nope, those are probably not original, knobs, but funky radio knobs.
Yeah.
And of course, you can see the stylings on this are incredible.
And that shape. Who thought of that shape?
The shape is just space age and cool. There may have been some marijuana involved. We got a serial number carved with a pen knife, just carved in the back, 1144-1, maybe? That's something.
Yeah.
A lot of the attributes of this, very short scale. Probably, shorter. I don't
12, 15, 17, 18.
Yeah. Very cool. Just the paint job. That's. Let me just get this up the camera so they can see that.
Slightly glittery.
That glittery splat, brown splat paint job on that.
I mean, if it was nail polish, I'd wear it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not into nail polish, but and yeah, just out of the box, they play great. So yeah, you paid top dollar at the time, but I bet today this thing. I can't imagine what this goes for. Every time I sell a Danelectro, I'm like, oh my god! I look them up online. I'm like, $800. I guess that's what they're going for, and they're flying out the door. So
I have to say the amp in the case Silvertone.
Yeah.
I got when I was in college at a place called the Vintage Fret Shop in Ashland, New Hampshire. And it was $175, and that was so much money at the time. And I just kept going in and playing
looking at it. Yeah.
Finally, I just knuckled down and bought it. But I think they go for considerably more now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they did a reissue of this.
Oh, did they?
And I saw an indie rock band who they were playing. These, yeah. The guy was playing it, and I was very surprised.
What would you call this? A rhombus shape? Is this a rhombus? No, because it's
like
what we would call this. Yeah.
This looks like a
sorry,
sexy lady, maybe.
Something happening here. Yeah. This is a thing of beauty.
Yeah.
And plays great, sounds great, and they usually don't need, like Mike said earlier, he's never seen a warped neck on them ever. Yeah. They hold up quite well. I would love to have a Longhorn, Jimmy says.
Oh, yeah.
The Longhorn, they make them now, and they're great. We got one in. Bob Lord from Parma Records came and bought it, and I was like, great, I'll order another one. Hasn't come in yet.
Really?
It's been a year.
Everyone's wanting the Longhorns.
It's just hard to get first of all, either my Danelectro guy is like not getting me the stuff. Like either he hates me subconsciously or something, or the stuff is just so super back ordered. Like we get some Danelectros in.
Yeah, let's show the new variation.
So this is a modern Danelectro. And this one I'm showing just because we don't have the original 59. So the 59 is what they call the double cutaway. Model 59, and it still has that bridge that the guy was showing you with the piece of rosewood in it, and it still has the ordinarily has the metal nut. This is what they call the 59 Divine. they're really trying to, make people who would want to play something fancier play their guitars. So, Wilkerson hardware, bone nut, probably the same tuners.
Sides are different. There's not.
Yeah, sides.
weird
This is
wallpaper.
this is walnut, and it's a real top. So
like
they
the
just
real tops.
well, they're all real, I suppose.
Yes.
That's what everything is actually organic.
True.
Everything on Earth is organic. So
Came
if you
from
like
the
organic food, you've come to the right place. But also, real as in solid wood.
Still making the lipstick pickups.
Yep. Figured out how to raise the output of them a little bit, I think. They kind of compete a little more, but they're essentially the same thing, same design. But with refinements. And this is one thing, and you can get these. I'm working to make some great hardware. This is what they're putting on the deluxe Danos now. This will swap on to one of those older ones if you have a trouble with intonation.
If you have treble.
If you have trouble with your intonations. But I will say that this is also intonatable. People have made intonated saddles out of rosewood that fit onto. There's one screw that holds.
I'll put this one back.
There's one screw that holds this on, and you take that screw off, and it comes off, and you can make a reproduction. And
then the chipmunk might run out.
Yeah, get away. I see you've never cleaned the fingerboard either.
No, it's keeping its value.
And vintage value. And your frets are pretty flat.
Yeah.
Except these here. Notice these frets are all shiny, and these up here are all corroded. I don't know if you can see that at home, but we know where Guy's home is on the.
Mark, tell us how we would figure out the age of one of these guitars.
Well, you could buy the Neptune bound book or take it out of the library. So how do we date them? They did put a serial number on some. I mean, they did a bad job keeping track of them, essentially.
Right.
Serial numbers. There are some serial number databases appearing online. Sometimes it's just characteristics, or what we go by when they went to this pick guard, the headstock style.
Right.
So if you have a U2, that's the single cutaway with the dolphin, with a Coke bottle of the dolphin, that tells you it could be this year, could be that year. But the most reliable way is the code stamped on the pots.
Oh.
These are Claristat, I believe, and Mike, if he's out there, can correct me if I'm wrong. But just early American pot, American-made pots. For some reason,
American-made pot.
That's what my great grandpappy used to farm early American pot. The early American pots they were just good at keeping track of. They put a date code on everything.
Oh.
So that way you could track the manufacturer code, up to a year. Right. Sometimes they're made the previous year or something, but they can be very helpful when you're trying to date something that was not kept good track of. Also with the Jensen, the speaker company,
right,
they kept pretty good track of they would stamp dates on their speakers, or they'd have a date code in the.
It's not like a Fender where you pull the neck off and it's in there.
Literally, it has Fender stamped everything with the day it was made. It was pretty damn convenient.
Yeah.
And it really didn't take that much effort.
Right.
It was just a stamp. The next day they'd come in and, put the next date on the stamp. Good idea. So, that's another way to date them. And then the 90s ones, they're probably more dependable. The 90s are beginning to become close. So they did the reproduction in the 90s, but then they did those far out ones. Remember the ones that had the effects built in?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a 12-string that had the effects built in.
And and the 12-string with it. So they did the reproductions and the modern ones, even with the effects built in, they were super cheap at the time.
And that's because he's a pedal guy, and he was like, I want to.
Yeah, like one idea. This is an innovation that people are going to dig, putting the distortion button right on the guitar.
Yeah.
And all of them that I've seen lately, when you hit the distortion button, the thing goes nuts. So either they're like out of parameters and sounding great, just like you press that button and things go crazy fast in a good way. I
was thinking, Mark, you have a really interesting version of a Silvertone guitar that maybe I'll grab.
Oh yeah, grab this one.
Talk about.
Tell the story. I guess this is the Silvertone edition of Gary's Guitar Talk. So let me catch up with the folks in the chat here. Love to have a Longhorn, but like I said, the Longhorns are available someday. It seems a lot of the stuff is back ordered since last year. Yes, I've been, we have about 6 guitars still back ordered with them. I had a convertible. Ooh, Mike saying I had a convertible. They sold with or without the pickup. Mine came without it.
Yeah, I remember.
Had a Bazooki 12-string too. Oh, Belzuki, not Bazooki. He wrote Belzuki. Is that different than Bazooki? 12-string too. It could be the Coral Bell.
Yeah.
Version. That's a whole other story. But let's look at this for a second. So Peter Meyer, who does some work with us at the shop, came in and picked up a convertible and played it and really fell in love with it. But he decided he was going to make himself one. So he made this. He made it like the convertible, although what he did was he did make more like a modern Danelectro where it does have a top, but this is an actual acoustic guitar top. And then this, rather than just having the sides, it's a one-piece back that he routed out, kind of like a modern semi-hollow. This is the famous lipstick pickup, and that was originally just suspended in there, in the hole of the convertible, or like Mike said, the Vincent Bell, yeah. So Vinnie Bell, that would be the Belzuki, did a thing with Danelectro where he actually invented the Coral sitar.
Whoa!
Remember that?
Yeah,
the
yeah.
sitar that was actually made by Danelectro and Vinnie Bell together under the name Coral. And now Danelectro makes the sitar again. Yeah. And it was something real easy. Like they took the bridge and flipped it around backwards or something, and it just made a sitar sound. And they're like,
"Let's do it.
Sign me up!" Yeah. The original Acoustasonic, yes, that's the. So yes, semi-hollow body, but works as an electric as well. Has a very between the sounds. Peter also added this gold foil, handmade by some dude in DC, I think. He put a rosewood adjustable bridge on it and a tailpiece. So it's not strictly a Danelectro, but is Danelectro inspired. And he played it for a couple years, and now he's selling it. And so you're basically buying it used for half of what it should cost. So it's $12.99. And if he made it for you, I'm sure it would be twice that.
Abalone here.
Yeah. And this little inlay thing he found in a junk store, and he just liked the look of it, and so he made it into the inlay.
That's some crafty work.
Yeah. And so he enjoyed it, and now he's passing it on. So check that out. We keep that with the Danelectros. Vinnie Bell, the original Acoustasonic. And then we got some spam. And then Jimmy says, definitely inspired Danny Farrington. Remember the Kramer Farrington guitars in the 80s?
Oh.
They were that hollow body guitar, but there was it was like an electric guitar and an acoustic. They were just those really small things, and they very 80s thing.
Yeah.
So he must have picked one of these up. And
yeah, I was just thinking Airline made a great amp in a case guitar and had an amp in the case.
Yeah.
And Montgomery Ward, I guess, did that. Have you ever seen those?
Yeah.
They're like blue usually, and
it could have been made by Danelectro as well.
Yeah.
Because like I said, Danelectro did a lot of manufacturing. Danelectro, Harmony, and K. Sorry. What these companies would actually do is they would put out, like Sears would put out bids to whoever could make the Silvertones this year, I think, or try to get everyone's best deal.
Yeah. Hey Roger, what can you do?
Yeah, you got to help me on this price.
What can you do?
That's right. Harmony famously in the Harmony guitars that were Silvertone branded. Some of them don't have truss rods.
Ooh.
They actually saved, or maybe the Danelectros. Now that I think about it, there's some Danelectros that don't have truss rods, and that was to save $1 or something on the manufacturing, or probably pennies, really.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, you want this for $20? I can do it for or whatever. You want this for $12? I can do it for $12, but
it looks like a guitar.
No truss rod. Yeah. So yeah, the Airline, definitely those three classic American companies.
You know anything about Silvertone acoustic guitars when they started making those? Because I see a lot of those around, and sometimes
those are often Harmony Sovereigns.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, or just Harmonies.
So the parlor size,
mid '60s, Silvertone branded. Woody had one. but just all around Harmony saw good stuff. Because here's the thing: Harmony was in Chicago, and Gibson was in Kalamazoo, just down the street. Really, I mean, they're different states, but they were using the same woods at the same time. The quality, the materials quality on those harmonies, and even the Danelectros, even though we're talking about Danelectros that have like masonite tops, they would have ebony fingerboards sometimes, or really good rosewood. The rosewood fingerboards on those older, on these things, are incredible pieces of rosewood that you just cannot find these days. I don't know if you can see grain on your computer from that far away. And you can still see the saw marks on this one. You see those lines like every quarter of an inch? That's because it was never, they sawed it and then they never sanded it. A thing of beauty.
Weird thing about these is you need a real skinny strap. They would make straps for
Yeah, it was tough to
didn't
fit your
fit
strap in there. Yeah,
real
you got the
tight.
strap lock on that. That thing is
Yeah.
tight with a capital T.
Yep, I don't want to mess it up.
Yeah.
Anything come into the store lately that's got you peaked up? Ooh, what about that Gibson over
Oh
there?
yeah.
You wanna
Talk
one
about
down?
that. Yeah, okay.
It's a pretty sweet one.
All right.
Unfortunately, if you follow Gary's Guitars on Instagram or Facebook like I do, you see all the real fancy things that come in, and then sometimes you have to swoop down and actually play them.
Play them or buy them.
I don't know if I trust myself with this beauty, but
Yeah. Get an initial reaction here. Factory
it's
tune.
chimey.
Yeah, it sounds like it just has this. So 1933 Gibson L0. And also nicknamed the Robert Johnson model because that's the one you see a photo of Robert Johnson playing, parlor-sized body. And Guy just knocked a couple $100 off your vintage value by playing Crazy Train on it. But
Little bit of a bend to the back. That's really
it's
interesting.
a V-shaped neck.
Yeah.
And I guess, and I've had to explain this to a few customers. It has these little bumps. I'm just going to see them. Just little bumps here on the neck. You can quite see them. And people are like, oh, someone must have leaned that up against their, coffee table or something.
Yeah.
This was something that blind people would do
to
know what fret they were on. So the guitar being a portable instrument, the thing is, the question is, why are there so many blind blues players in the early 20th century? Did the blues blind them? No, it didn't. Blind kids were often sent to blind schools back then. There were no public schools weren't really, able to, weren't equipped to help, blind kids at the time. A lot of them were just sent off to a school for the blind, and they would give them music because not having sight, intensifies your hearing. Often, creates we know that story,
And feel where they were at.
And so this was so that, so there's two ways to play the guitar. If you're blind, you play it on your lap, and you play kind of like a piano, and you can kind of gauge your sight easily. But then also, you can gauge it with your finger on the back of the neck to know what fret you're on, or where to stop on the fret. And that's probably where those bumps came from.
That's wild.
And that is wild.
And the old style headstock.
The old style
writing.
Gibson, that's a stencil, I do believe. Yeah, you want to. Oh no, that's stenciled on. It's just thick.
So it doesn't say the Gibson like that mandolin over
No,
there.
the Gibson. They dropped the from the Gibson name, and people are just constantly shocked by this because you notice the one thing that's not right on this guitar. The reason you can afford it, maybe, is this is a Martin style bridge. The Gibson bridge went straight across. This is that little bump. And later Gibson switched to that. And then they had the backwards Martin, remember the backwards bridge on the Gibsons?
Yeah.
But this era, this bridge was replaced. So someone put this bridge on at some point, and we're just leaving it on there because it's there and it's fine. And they'll probably leave some tracks behind. And so it's not museum quality.
TJ Wheeler.
TJ Wheeler on this for years. Our blues man.
So yeah,
Just
come
incredible.
on down. New things popping up all the time.
Daily. We got Martins.
Yep, Martin's over there. Fenders.
But we're just here to talk about guitars. Well, we have a bunch of watchers who are like Dub Delay. He's in Dublin. He's actually in
Whoa.
Dublin.
So
So he can't really come by. Yeah. Well, I asked him if it was because of dub music or living in Dublin.
Right.
And the answer is both.
Oh, sweet.
So that's fortunate. All right. I just missed the Kramer Farrington for $100. Farrington made some serious cousin guitars for people like Neil Finn and Richard Thompson. Yeah, Richard Thompson had one of those Farrington things. My first guitar was a Harmony Bobcat. Remember the Bobcat?
Yeah. So Bobcat, they made
that
some
with the gold foil pickups.
Yeah.
A lot of these pickups were manufactured. Danelectro made their own pickups, but Harmony would often use the Armand pickups.
Gold foil kind of things.
The gold foil ones were. I'm trying to remember the lineage of that. That might be another episode because a lot of the Japanese pickups had the gold foil tops too. So I wonder if they were importing those pickups. The Tescos or Tesco, tomato. So it's coming down to that time again, folks. It's almost wrap it up time. So let's wrap it up. We have to do our obligatory subscribe and like, and if you like and subscribe, good things will happen to you in the metaverse.
A free Gary sticker if you come down.
Yeah, come down and claim your free sticker. Only if you subscribe and like. If you dislike, you owe us a sticker from wherever it is you are.
Please.
So do that stuff. Special thanks to Guy for coming.
Thanks for
and
having
filling
me.
in and bringing his beautiful instruments.
Mm-hmm.
So and these
I
are
have
just,
more.
Yeah, you got.
Fortunately.
We're in the running for who has the most.
Oof.
But you play these guitars. These guitars are actually played by you.
Most of them.
Yeah.
Most of them, yeah.
You know, you make use of your guitars with your prolific songwriting and recording.
Yeah.
And touring and whatever else you do.
Fun having some different textures. One guitar just doesn't cut it if you're recording.
I love just picking up a guitar and it just tells you what to do. You know, just thank you for telling me what to do. Especially, that's how I explain having 10 basses. Because I'll choose the bass, and then the bass will choose the bass line.
Yeah.
So,
I've seen you grab a couple different ones for a recording session.
I'll pick up a bass, I'll play it for a second, and then I'll pick up a different bass, and that bass will tell me to play something different. Good. So, a character to the sound. So it's good to have lots of guitars. And we're not just saying that because this is a guitar store. So it's wrap it up time. Thanks again, everyone, for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like and Instagram and all that stuff. And stand by for the end.
Thanks,
this is the
everybody.
part
Thanks for being here with us.
We're ending, but not quite yet. And we press the button, and then we're going to press another button, and bye. Now we're